Hi everyone, welcome back to KTV Creates. I have some beautiful DIY projects for you today. I wanted to also thank today's sponsor, Skillshare. We'll talk a little bit about that more into the video, but for now, let's start with our projects. So for DIY number one, we are going to make a beautiful hanging piece for a wall. You're going to need two of these rectangular signs from the Dollar Tree. These just happen to be from Valentine's Day. I'm going to use one of those little burlap parts in the third project, but you can find these in the seasonal decor at pretty much any time during the year at Dollar Tree. So definitely grab a bunch of them because I use them all the time. So you're going to take off those hearts and then you're going to flip them over and just remove the staples and the twine hanger. I just went in with my sanding block and just sanded the parts where the staples were just to smooth that out just a bit. And I just cleaned up the debris with my little ladybug mini vacuum. And now we're gonna go ahead in and start painting. So I'm just gonna use some chalk paint in white and I'm just gonna gently brush it on. It doesn't have to be, completely full coverage because obviously I'm gonna go for the whole farmhouse look. So distressed is best when doing a farmhouse sign. So I'm just gonna spread that on. And then we're gonna work some magic with decorating. So next I took 3 of these wooden boxes that you can find at the Dollar Tree. These are the outside portion. I had used the inside portion. They're like little wood drawers, but I used the inner portion on a different project. So these are the outside, the bigger portion. And we are going to go ahead in and stain these. I'm going to use my antique Waverly wax. You can mix up some burnt umber with a little bit of water to get a nice stain, or use your stain of choice. I just find this super easy to use, and it spreads on really easy. It lasts forever. There's no odor to it. So this is my preferred method of staining wood. Just make sure you want to go ahead and cover or stain all 4 sides, the bottom, and then the top edges around the box, as well as maybe about a ½ inch inside the box at the top, just in case some peeks through when we're finished. Then I took a paintbrush and I am just gently dry brushing on some white chalk paint just to distress this and add a little bit of interest to the piece. And that's what it looks like. And I'm going to do that to all 3 wooden blocks. Once the first layer of paint is all dry, you're going to go ahead and flip that over, and it's time to secure the 2 pieces together. I started out by using some duct tape and taping the 2 together so that I could go ahead in and glue the seam. I'm going to use some Gorilla Clear glue, and that's how I'm going to secure the 2 boards together, and then the duct tape kind of holds it in place as well. So you just want to make sure it's tight to the seam, and you are going to have some seepage through, but that's okay because we're going to cover that right up. So here I just took my sanding block, and once it's all dry, I did let it dry overnight, and once it's all dry, it does leave a little bit of a shiny finish. So I just went in, lightly sanded that finish off a little bit, wiped everything down with a baby wipe, and then I'm going to go in and add a second layer of my white paint. And again, you don't have to be you don't have to have super coverage here because we're going to go for more of a distressed look. So you're just trying to cover up that line, and I had a few specks of paint that didn't belong there. And then next we're going to go ahead in and we're going to mark out some lines to make it look like shiplap. So I'm just kind of measuring here where I want my lines to fall, and then I'm just using a pencil and I'm going to go across and draw those lines in. Now I like to use the pencil And then I go in and I kind of smudge the pencil a little bit with my finger just to, again, make it look a little bit more distressed. But then I do end up going in with a little bit of paint just to make the line a little bit, just for it to show up a little bit more. So next you'll see I'm gonna also draw on some little nail holes on the edges of each board, or what would be a shiplap board. And I'm gonna pencil them in, and then we're gonna paint over them a little bit with some paint just so they stand out a little bit more. And then once I had all my markings penciled in, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of Waverly chalk paint and elephant, and I'm just gonna kind of dry brush that on. I'm kind of putting a little bit of paint on my paintbrush, and then I'm wiping it off with a paper towel and then applying it to the board. It doesn't have to be like a perfect line. I want it to look, more distressed. And then once I'm satisfied with all of that, I did go ahead and paint the little nail holes as well. And then once I was good with all that, then I went in with a little bit more of my Waverly chalk paint in white, just to soften it up again and blend it all in. And I think you'll understand when you see what it looks like, so it's not so sharp. And that's what it looks like once I put the Waverly, the white chalk paint over it. And now all I'm doing is I'm taking some antique wax and I'm just going to distress the edges of the whole frame. And I'm going to show you what that kind of looks like because it's hard to see on camera. So I'm not doing too much, just enough. Next, it's time to decorate our little boxes. So I absolutely love this ribbon that you can find at the Dollar Tree. I only found it in one of my Dollar Trees once, and I grabbed as much as I could, but it's this faux leather ribbon. So I'm just taking some in brown, and I'm just applying it around 3 edges of the little box, because the bottom edge obviously is going to be glued onto your sign. So that's all I'm doing here. I just hot glued it on, and then we are going to decorate it a little bit with just some silver thumbtacks. So I'm just going to put 2 on each of the box just to decorate it a little bit, make it look like nail heads or tacks. So you're going to do that to all 3 of them. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead in and we're going to add our floral foam. Now, in order to do this, I'm just showing you here, I kind of eyeballed it and decided how much I needed to cut off of each piece of floral foam. These are the little cubes that come in a set of 4 in a pack. So I used two per wooden box. So you're going to need a total of 6 of them. And then once you actually, let me take a step back because this is always a work in progress. So before you add your floral form, you're going to do this step first. And what I'm doing here is I'm just adding a little bit of that faux leather ribbon I'm hot gluing a little piece of it to the inside of the boxes, because we're going to hot glue the box onto the sign, but then I'm going to staple this little piece of leather to the sign as well, just for some added security. So that's kind of why we're going ahead and doing this. So now I'm going to decide where I want everything lined up. So that's all I'm measuring everything. I measured 4 inches from each edge and then 3 inches in between each box. And then I mark off the edges of the box just so I could tell where to put that box back after I stick some hot glue on the back of it. And that's how we're going to adhere all of them to the sign. And then once we have all of those secured, now it's time to go in. I'm just using my staple gun, and I'm just going to staple that little leather ribbon, and then you're just going to fold over the other piece and hot glue that back on so you can't see the staple.
Now, then it's time to obviously add your floral foam back in, because now we're going to add our floral arrangements and our little tea light candles to the boxes. So I bought these at, I believe, Walmart, but they definitely have these at the Dollar Tree. I've seen them there before. So you want to obviously turn them on, and then I'm just kind of screwing them into the little floral foam. You can't glue them on because obviously you want to be able to turn them on and off. And now you're ready to add your wording. This whole inspiration for this project came from this quote that I read. It says, "In a dark world, be the light." And I thought it was very fitting for the times that we've been in and this past year that we've had to go through so much. So I am just going to apply that wording. I'm going to off-center it a little bit, and then you're going to be all set to decorate. Now, again, I did this a little bit backwards, so do as I say, not as I do. Before you go ahead and glue your little wooden boxes onto the frame, you're going to want to finish up securing the back of your sign. So I'm just taking the large tongue depressor sticks, and I'm just going to hot glue 5 of them. Had to stop there for a second and think about that. So I'm going to hot glue 5 of them onto the back for more security. And then I wanted to show you, this is how I kind of finish off my projects. Rather than painting or doing any of that, this is just covering up all that ugliness. And I'm just hot gluing some brown craft paper to the back, and then it looks so like professionally done. And now we're going to go ahead and decorate with some floral and different greenery. I'm using a bit of lilac, some lamb's ear, and then these cute little, I don't know, hanging greenery that I found at the Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to add them in, and then you're going to put your little lights back in where you kind of made the indentation, where you kind of screwed them in, and you're going to turn them on. And then just to finish it up and give it a nice little finishing touch, I'm adding a little bit of my reindeer moss, just to add a little bit more color, a little bit more green, and kind of cover up whatever floral foam is showing through. And that's really it. Your project is all done. It was kind of hard to explain everything, so I hope you followed along and understood what I was talking about as I was doing it. But I am so obsessed with this project. I think it's probably one of my, I would say, top 5 projects that I've ever done. So let's take a look at the finished results.
So I wanted to take a minute to talk about today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community for creatives just like you and I.
They offer thousands of inspiring classes on things like photography, video, design, illustration, time management, and so much more. What I love most about Skillshare is that most classes are under 60 minutes, so they fit my busy schedule, and they also fit most skill levels. I'm actually taking some time to take a class on product photography. I chose this class because it was a quick 35-minute class, and it takes you through different concepts and tips and tricks for beautiful product photography. What's really neat about it is that it's specific to learning, so there's no ads, and they're always launching new classes. It's really affordable too, at less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. But I am thrilled to offer you today, the first 1,000 subscribers to click the link in the description box will get a free trial of the premium membership, so you can start exploring your creativity today. Sign up for Skillshare today. I know you're going to love it. So on to DIY number 2, we are going to make a little coaster stand. So this is a cute little tray that I found in the Dollar Tree, And we're just going to go ahead and remove that glitter. I'm using this cool little tip that I picked up from Courtney from Creative on the Cheap. You just want to spray a little bit of Goo Gone on that glitter lettering, and then all you're going to do is take a putty knife and you're going to scrape it all off. It's much easier than trying to sand all of that and getting that glitter everywhere. You could see how easy it comes up. And we are going to go ahead in and add some scrapbook paper once you have that all cleaned off. Once you scrape it off, you just want to wipe it down with a little wet wipe. And then you're all set to decorate. So I picked up this scrapbook paper at Hobby Lobby a while back, and it looks like galvanized metal. So I thought it was really cool. So all you're gonna do is the backing actually fell off of this. So I took that and I'm just going to outline, I'm gonna cover the front and the back just so it looks nice and finished. So I'm just outlining those shapes, and then you're gonna also wanna go in and just outline the sides and the front of the little tray or box. So that's all I'm doing here. Then you're gonna cut everything out, and I like to adhere my scrapbook paper with just some school glue or what are they called? Glue sticks, yes. The little glue sticks. So that's kind of how I adhere everything. If you wanted to seal it, you could do a thin layer of Mod Podge over it, but I didn't feel it was necessary. So I just went in and attached everything with my little glue stick. And then once you're done with all of that, we are going to actually just sand off the edges, because you can never get it, exactly perfect around the edges. So you're just going to take your sanding block and just sand the edge of the paper right off of it, so it's a nice crisp like clean finish, and you can't tell that it's actually paper glued on to your box. Next, we're going to go ahead and add some antique wax around the edges of it, just to give it more of that farmhouse old worn look. So that's all I'm doing here, is just gently applying that to the edges of the frame, and then I'm concentrating a little bit more in all of the corners, just to give it, like I said, a little bit of a worn, rusty type of a look. And then here I'm just showing you what it looks like when you just have the scrapbook paper plain, and then where I antiqued the edge of it, and I think it just adds the perfect touch to it. So now I'm going to apply my wording and my lettering that I cut out on my vinyl machine, and it's going to say, "Don't mess up my table," because after all, that's why we use coasters, right? So I applied the "Don't mess up" to the top part, and then I put table on that little box part. And then they also have these beautiful coasters at the Dollar Tree. Most Dollar Trees have them, so I'm hoping you know what I'm talking about, but they have such cute little sayings on them, and they're just little like tile pieces. So definitely grab a few of them because they're perfect for this project. And I also wanted to remind you, all of the tools and different things that I like to use can be found in my Amazon store. So I will leave the link in the description box. If you're interested in anything, you can kind of go check out what different tools I like to use on there. And so once you have that all, the wording on and everything, you're all set to go ahead and glue it all together. I'm just using a little bit of this Fix-All from the Dollar Tree as well as some hot glue, and you're all set. And these are the little coasters that I was talking about. They're so adorable with such cute little sayings on them. So I went ahead and I just added 3 coasters to my little holder, and it's just adorable. So let's take a look at the finished results. And for our final DIY, I found this wood sign at the Dollar Tree. I grabbed a few of them because they are solid wood pieces and I very rarely find them at my Dollar Tree. So go ahead and scoop some up if you do see them because they're great and they come in handy for all kinds of things. So I am just using my heat gun here to remove that label on the back of it. It is so easy to do with a heat gun. It just peels right up and there's hardly any residue left on the sign. And then you're all set to go ahead and paint everything. So I just went in and used my Waverly chalk paint in silver lining. I ended up doing, I think, about 3 coats of this just to cover that pink. It just kept peeking through. And then we're going to take the little burlap heart that we used in our first project and we're going to use that for this sign. And I am taking my antique wax and I am just kind of defining the edges of it and just making it look a little bit more distressed. So that's what I'm doing here, is lightly just brushing some of that all around the edges. And now we're all set for our lettering. So I'm going to use these rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree. This is the first time I actually used them. So we are going to do a saying that says, "Love builds a happy home." And I just searched like different sayings on online, and I am going to actually hand letter a portion of it as well. So we are just going to apply the rub-on transfers as you see here, and I'm just going to apply the love builds. Then you'll see I'm going to do the hand lettering, and then we'll add the home letters at the end, just so it lines up right. And I just wanted to say, if I could do this hand lettering from a picture from my phone, I am telling you, anybody can. I am not the best when it comes to handwriting or lettering, and I do have a very shaky hand. So I'm telling you, if I could do it, you can. Practice makes perfect, and you could just do it with a pencil to start, just to make sure you're comfortable with it. But it's super easy. And I do love these rub-on transfers, and I hope I could find more very soon. So here we are. I'm showing you how to do that lettering, and I am literally just copying it from my phone as best I can in pencil. Then I am going to go in with, you can actually use a black Sharpie. I had some Arteza acrylic paint markers that I love, so that's what I ended up using to fill that in. And you could see here too, like I said, I was a little bit shaky and I messed up a little bit here and there, but you could just go in and fill the lines in, make different lines thicker, and you just make it look so authentic and hand done. So I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. So as you know, you guys, I love to hear from you. I always want to hear which project you think was your favorite. I'm going to have to say number 1 is one of my all-time favorite DIY projects that I've ever done. So definitely let me know what you think in the comment section below. Also, if you wouldn't mind, I would love for you to go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and definitely share the videos with friends and other people, because it certainly helps my channel grow, and I appreciate all of that. So here we are. We're going to just finish up our project with the home stickers, and it's easy to do. You just rub them right on and peel off that top portion, and you are good to go. Don't forget to also see me over on Instagram. I am there as well at KTB Creates 2019, and I enjoy showcasing some of my projects. I would love to see different projects that you guys do and create. So definitely send me some pictures and I would love to post them. So here is the finished project. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for joining me today. As always, you are so much appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope to see you all very, very soon. Take care and have a wonderful week.